who just cranks all the time and they always have poor sleep, they generally have 3 or 4 hours sleep, they will always struggle to lose fat.
Have social media coaches made the industry better or worse?
Worse. Fucking 1,000,000% worse.
In what way?
Oh,
what's the biggest mistake people make when they try to grow online?
Not be themselves.
Good point.
It ended up popping the artery and then I had a very small bleed and a cracked skull. They were like, have you got someone to keep an eye on you tonight? I was like, yeah, my granddad come and pick me up, and that was it. That was literally after like wanting to go and kill myself.
So who was Tom before StrengthGod existed?
Oh, fuck. So when did StrengthGod come about? I think StrengthGod come about when I was in London, maybe I changed it over, but Tom had a really shit life, to be fair. So, troubled childhood, no dad, no siblings, dad never wanted anything to do with me. My nan was an alcoholic, brought us up with my mum, my nan and my granddad. She won't admit she's an alcoholic like most alcoholics do.
Yeah.
But it's one of them where it's arguments every day, just shit for no reason. My mum had me young, and I kind of just got pushed to one side because like she had me when she was 21. She didn't know how to live her own life. She still doesn't, so how can you bring your kid up like that? Seeing my uncle try and strangle and kill me now when I was about 6, come up the stairs, he was on top of her choking, and I was like, Mom, what's going on? So I remember that and went through school. I wasn't able to go out the house on my own until I was about 13, 14 because my mum was scared of my dad kidnapping me, even though it was just a word. But so yeah, I never really had any friends. I had a really troubled childhood. And then yeah, I went to school, bullied like fuck, turned 18 and just went off the fucking rails. Like I realised I wasn't quite right mentally in me early teens because like, it was weird because I, you'll probably find it funny, I was in the gifted and talented bit in school, but then had to go to anger management at the same time. And it was like, what the fuck's going on here? So yeah, I realised I wasn't quite right and I was violent and that in me early teens, but it wasn't up until the other year I realised I actually had ADHD and me birds identified the fact I'm autistic as well, so everything kind of makes sense now. Because like in school I couldn't do anything, I couldn't sit around people because I'd be listening to everything they done, I couldn't focus, so I had to sit on my own. But every time I sat on my own I was lonely for sitting on my own, so I couldn't do it. So it was like a bit of a catch-22 on like what to do, but now I've realised it is that, what's the best way to describe it? I hear and I see everything that goes on, like me peripheral vision and that, like I can't help it. So I've got to be on my own or have something in my ears and all, like you see with the autistic kids with the fucking the headphones on all the time. I've got to be like that to actually get anything done. But it's one of those things that you realise when you're older, isn't it?
Yeah. So have you gone and got diagnosed or anything?
With the ADHD, yes. With the autism, no, not yet. I've still been waiting. I'm going to have to go private for the autism. Like, I believe I've got BPD as well, borderline, well, I had it, borderline personality disorder, because, like, the best way to differentiate between that and ADHD autism, it's like extreme emotions. So, like, when I'm happy, best day of my life. When I'm sad, want to end myself. When I'm angry, I want to fucking kill people. Like, but all it is just a lack of emotional regulation. And I realised I picked that up from my mum when I was growing up, because my mum's quite narcissistic, Debbie. So watching her grow up, like all personality disorders, generally speaking, like there are some which is more genetical and hereditary, but I think a lot of them is environmental. Because like with BPD, for instance, all you have is developed a selection of really poor habits from when you were a child, that's it. That's in essence all it is. So if you can regulate and figure out why you've got them on how to not flip, then you're okay. It's a lot more simple than what people think, but people just don't really know what to deal with it or how to do it.
And was there a moment that completely changed the direction of your life?
Yeah, it was when I went to Oz. So like we mentioned earlier, before I went to Oz, I was quite heavy on Charlie. I didn't know I was using it as a distraction until I left.
How old were you then?
I started using when I think I was 19. I started using coke because I never smoked, I never really drank anything, never done anything up until I was 18, 19 because my life was so controlled. So as soon as I turned that age, I just went off the fucking rails and started doing whatever I want. And yeah, it got to a point like, because I always had it around me, that I'll just be lying in bed, I'd have a bad day here, my family arguing downstairs, and I'll just do a line in bed. I remember quite a funny night. I was doing a line every 2 COD games online. I didn't even play that good either. So yeah, that was at a point because I was on this is quite funny, you'll laugh at this. I was on a grammar test, 600 milligram equipoise, 400 milligram tren, 5 IU growth, 10 IU insulin, T5s as a pre-workout, Viagra's on the weekend, and then snorting 3 or 4 days a week. And like, I looked massive,
Jeez.
I was lean, but I couldn't walk down the road and hold a conversation without being out of breath. Like, so I think looking back now, my blood would have been like treacle. I couldn't walk and talk full stop. And I realised I used to joke with the lads in the gym, like, I was like, I'm going to be dead by 30. And like, they were like, yeah. And then, yeah, I ended up, what was it? I had a motorbike crash, come off going, like, looking back now, it was over the speed limit. I think it was about 80, but at the time I had amnesia. I couldn't remember anything. I was knocked out, come off the bike. Me mate kind of, what was it? What's the best way to describe it? I went to go past on the inside, undertake him. I was going way above the speed limit. He cut in front of me because he didn't check his mirrors and started braking. I didn't want to go into the other lane because we had a new rider, you know, behind us. I expected him to see, didn't start braking immediately. And then my front wheel knocked his rear. I had to lock the back up and it come off. Knocked out, bounced across the road, woke up on the floor, looked at my feet. I was like, please move. Wiggled my toes so I knew I didn't have any spinal damage. Got put on an ambulance and then, yeah, off to hospital I went. I walked out that night. I had no major injuries. I had a MRI, CT scan, 5 x-rays and absolutely nothing, but pickled my head a little bit. And that was the second near-death experience I had by the age of 21, 22.
And what's the hardest period in your life you've gone through?
I'll probably say up until I left New Zealand, the whole thing. Because I didn't know why I was the way I was. I didn't put 2 and 2 together because I know I'm not right. Well, I'll reword that. I know I wasn't right. I'm still not right, but I'm just not that fucked anymore. And I'll probably say then because, like, my first little experience, my near-death one, I was in Liverpool and I went for a little tester for a line behind some clubs and the lad pinged me in the head from behind. It was the old BlackBerry Bold 9900 times. And he literally cracked me from behind to rob my phone and my head pinged off the pavement. I had a skull fracture and a brain bleed. And I didn't even know I had them until about a month later. The hospital refused to give me an MRI. And the best way to describe it's like the worst headache you've ever had. It just didn't go. Like my head was
From a cracked skull.
Yeah, right there.
Shit.
So I actually ended up being able to play around with cadavers and that when I was in uni. I lasted 1 semester, but that's a different story. And just above your ear, you've got a very thin part of your skull with arterial lining. So that's where it cracked. It ended up popping the artery, and then yeah, I had a very small bleed and a cracked skull.
And how long did it take for them to, did you go to the doctor for it?
I was in the hospital that night. Like, I got rushed straight in. I was out cold for hours, but I went back to the doctor. They just kept saying it was concussion and concussion. Debbie, my mum, ended up going in about a month later crying because like it just wasn't getting any better. They sent me for an MRI, and then yeah, that's when they said like, we don't know how to tell you, but like he's got a crack on the skull and he's had a brain bleed. Like, thankfully the body is dissipating and get rid of it naturally. If not, I would have had to drill my skull to get it drained.
Why did it take them so long to get you a damn scan?
Because the shit. The NHS is fucked, innit?
Fucking hell. Did they give you a paracetamol and say go sleep it off?
Codeine, yeah. That's what I had, dihydrocodeine.
Wow. So why did you choose the name StrengthGod?
It was available. So it was originally Strength Evolution. My background, I used to compete in powerlifting in my early 20s. And like, it was Strength Evo, and I just thought one day, I was like, hang on, like, I wonder if this is free, and then StrengthGod was, so I became StrengthGod. And
pretty cool name, especially for powerlifter.
Thank you, bro. I'm quite well known as that now, because like, even though me coaching and me training styles drifted away from powerlifting per se, it's everyone just knows me by the fucking name.
And do you still compete in the powerlifting?
Not much anymore. Like, I boxed actually the other year. I had a little boxing fight in the gym. I've just started doing the little bits and bobs of things, you know, that I've always wanted to do.
Yeah.
Like having a fucking handlebar mustache the other week. That was a bad idea. I looked like I was out of YMCA in the Village People. But yeah, I'll probably say the major turning point with my life, and this will make the chat interesting. I took LSD for the first time. I took acid for the first time in New Zealand. And that was when I realised that everyone's life is so insignificant in the grand scheme of things. What's the point being asked?
And you were what, 18, 19?
No, I was like 27, I think. Yeah, that was when I took that. So after me crash, when I crashed my motorbike, I ended up attempting the year after. I broke up with a girl, and I realised, because like one of the problems with BPD is you have this intense fear of abandonment because you've never really been loved for who you are growing up. You think like people are just going to leave you all the time, and because you haven't been, one of the things I've realised now is you don't learn or get taught how to make your own decisions on life. And because you don't know how to make your own decisions to, you know, like answer your own questions, you expect someone to try and fix you and help you all the time. And I didn't know what to do in that scenario. So I just ended up buying a blade, buying a rope, jumped on my bike, rode from mine to Delamere Forest in rush hour traffic, way, way, way above the speed limit. I don't know how I survived that. I got there, the girl I was with at the time rang the police, so I had on like little looking out for me bike, emergency suicide watch shit.
Did you tell her you were gonna
Yeah,
do that?
yeah, it's a bit of a regret of mine for that because I fucked it up quite a bit, but yeah, you never know at the time, do you? And then got down, told her where I was, police come and got me, took me for an emergency mental health check. And then, yeah, they just basically said, and this is the funniest thing now, like, they were like, have you got someone to keep an eye on you tonight? I was like, yeah, my granddad come and pick me up, and that was it. That was literally after like wanting to go and kill myself.
Wow. Do you think there's a lack of support for people, you know, who wants to commit suicide and that?
Massively, yeah. Like, it's one of the saddest things. So with BPD, I think the statistics say 8 out of 10 people with BPD will attempt suicide at some point in their life, and I think it's 2 to 3 out of 10 succeed. It's got one of the highest suicide ratios of every mental health illness in the world.
What is BPD?
Borderline personality disorder. It's what I mentioned before. So effectively, you have exaggerated emotions. So like when I'm happy, best day of my life. When I'm sad, worst day of my life. But it's in its essence, in a simplistic form, it's just a really poor level of emotional regulation. Like you don't know how to regulate your emotions because you've never learned. So as soon as you pass that and like you kind of teach yourself to take a big breath, think things through, write it down if needs be, you kind of fix yourself for life then. Because like one of the problems I've got with a lot of the personality disorders is everyone believes that that's like the be all end all for the rest of your life. But your brain in essence is neuroplastic. So if you lose an ability, or like let's say you're an amputee and you lose your foot, your brain will then swap over what's linked to the foot with your brain and like the part of it that it uses for it, and just turn it and utilize something else for it. So like in that essence, you can effectively retrain your brain to kind of do whatever you want and act whatever way you want as long as you put enough effort in. Like it's quite a famous story from one of the people I know. He's an osteopath. His name's Mofo Body Mechanic on Insta, and what's his name? He had a lad who was an amputee, and he was ex-forces. I think he had don't know if it was from the hip or the knee down, but he ended up getting an itch on his leg, but he didn't have a fucking leg. So he couldn't do this itch, and it got to a point where he got sectioned because he wanted to kill himself because he had this itch on his leg that he couldn't itch. And the Mofo Body Mechanic eventually finds the area, traced it through, and it was his nose. He had a little tiny bit on the edge of his nose where he itched, and itched the itch on his leg.
Wow. And if you had to start from zero tomorrow, what would you do first?
First things first, get a job, doesn't matter what you do. And that's one of the problems I think with this country, but I've noticed it with every country. The patriots and the people who are from the country are the ones who are very picky about what they want to do for work, whereas the immigrants will do anything they can because they know they have to survive. Like I've had about, I think it's around 10 times now I've started from scratch in a new city. I've had to find somewhere to live, new friends, new job, everything. So yeah, get work first, sort accommodation, work my way up. But where I am in my life now, it ain't too bad. Like I know if like with me socials now, I know I could kind of go to anywhere I want in the world and I'll be okay. If I had to start the socials from scratch, I'll go start building a personal brand, just literally get myself out there, talk about the stuff that interests me, talk about what I'm knowledgeable about, use the skills I've learned, and that's it. I think once you get to that point of your lowest low, you can never get back there again because you always know how to get out.
Yeah, that is it. Once you've kind of done it, you can do it again.
Yeah.
So if you start from scratch, maybe you build a business from the ground up, and that's experience nobody can take from you, right?
Yeah, I think I don't know if it's Grant Cardone or Tony Robbins. He was on that Secret Millionaire thing in America, where they just get dropped in a city with a few dollars, not much money, no contacts, nothing, and they've got to try and build a business from scratch. And so many of the millionaires who have come from nothing are able to just click the fingers and they can just rebuild it so easily because they've got all the skills that they learned.
So what's the biggest lie the fitness industry still tells people?
Being in pain's normal.
In what sense? Like a heavy leg workout day, or?
No, pain after. So when you get your DOMs, when you train, you end up getting like a specific pain in the muscular area. It's called delayed onset muscle soreness. Once beyond that though, so let's say because you would have had at some point yourself, you get out of bed, your shoulder hurts or you've got dead fingers and you're just like, oh, why is this like this? Like in general, like that shouldn't exist in this world because everything, I'll probably say 98%, 99% of pains, niggles, joint issues can be corrected and fixed. Like almost everything can. But one of the issues that people have is like believing that free weights don't matter and machines are the answer, which to a degree they are. They do help people, but most people who are getting into the fitness industry, they will benefit far more than just learning how to move the body rather than doing specific things like machines. So like it's no point getting someone who can't actually just do a bodyweight squat with decent form or a goblet squat to just do a leg press and leg extensions, leg curls, because they're always going to miss out on the actual body movement of being able to do a squat. You're always going to be limited on that sense. So if you're limited on the sense of being able to do a squat, then what like passover and crossovers that got to your normal life? You might have bigger legs, you might have nice hammies and nice quads, but at the same time, if you can't just fucking squat down to get something off the bottom shelf, you're fucked.
So you think it's better to focus on those weak points first?
Yeah, focus on mobility and movement first and then progress forward.
And what do you say about the unrealistic expectations that the fitness industry has? Because people get quite depressed, like women looking at supermodels all the time. They say don't follow these women because it's all fake. They all Photoshop and shit, these girls on the cover magazines. So same with the lads. You see so many young people now. I mean, you mentioned earlier about steroids and whatever, but so many of the young kids now, they want muscles like now. So, and they're still too young for steroids, but you see them 18, 19, and they're all on the hardest shit,
It is an issue with that at the moment. I do think social media's made everything a hell of a lot worse, and everyone always talks the benefits, about everything being more open and being more available and all that, but I don't think that comes at a benefit. I think it comes at a negative, because like the gyms I grew up in, like I started training, I'm 34 now, I started training when I was about 12, 13. And I used to be like the old school, juice ed gangster gyms, like the proper ones.
Yeah.
And like the moody and they were rough, but everyone was there to help each other. Like everyone was always down, it was open, headphones didn't exist because Walkmans weren't really a fucking thing, stuff like that, it was just coming in and out. So everyone had to talk and they built a community about it, and the amount of gyms now that don't have a community is insane. And then like with people's bodies, like I do think, so steroids being and people taking them from young, so I started when I was 19, I think that's always been a thing. I think it's more the openness of it now which is different, and how much of a standardised thing that's a little bit different. Because most people that go to gyms, like especially the ones who train, like the hardcore trainers, every single one of them has a mental health issue. Like you'll find it difficult to find someone who is in extremely good shape, who is all together there in a normal, quotation mark, normal way. It's a rarity.
And what do you make of the peptides? Because obviously there's a whole laundry list of peptides now that people are taking that hasn't yet been approved for human, use.
I do think it's the next level, because I remember having a chat when I was in New Zealand. I had a friend there called Jerry, and Jerry he was in his 50s, must be about 60 now. He's one of the most intelligent people I've ever met. He owned a company making nanotechnology respirators and had a contract with the US Navy for submarines, for example.
Wow.
Ridiculously intelligent person. And he said, this was about 5-6 years ago now, and he goes, I think we've got the technology now to be able to elongate people's lives way past 100. He was like, I think by the end of our lives and our time spans, people getting into 110, 120, 130 will be a thing. And I do think peptides and that will be the answer for that. But it comes down at a cost. So like I've ran a few of them myself. I've ran Retta a couple of times.
Yeah.
Fat loss, brilliant. Like for your biomarkers and your health checks, brilliant. But the negative for me was how it impacted my sleep. So it only impacted a small bit, but I'm that aware of myself now that I know I turn into an absolute grade A crank / cunt if I have a poor sleep. So it brought a toll upon my relationship. The other ones, on the other hand, BPC, TB and GHKCU with the Glow compound, I rate that highly. I think it's absolutely brilliant. I take it every couple of days. I don't need to do it daily now. My skin looks better, my hair looks better, my bloat goes down, my joints feel amazing. I do think it is an element of it as the future. Will it replace stuff like steroids and that? No. Steroids are always going to be around, same with growth hormone. To elongate people's lives, make their lives better, yes. I do think there's probably going to be different ways to apply it soon. So I know that one I mentioned then, that GHKCU, that could be put in a cream. You can just have a topical cream and then put it on your face and it'll lower inflammation down. So I do think it's got its areas and its points in it. Do I think it's going to change the world? No. Do I think it'll benefit and elongate people's lives? Yes. Do I think it's a bit of a fad as well at the moment? Because you know what it's like we had SARMs a few years ago, didn't we?
Yes.
Yes, I think it is a little bit an element of it like that.
Yeah, what do you make of that Psalms? It kind of, you don't really hear too much of it.
They're fucking shite. Like, I never bothered taking them. I never rated them. I took one, I think it was MK677, which was like a growth hormone, like Similac. But outside of that, I was never the biggest fan, because like one of the ways you want to think about it and realise it with stuff like that is pro bodybuilders, generally speaking, they're like ahead of almost everything, you know, on like research and playing around with stuff. Like if it's a research chemical which is good to make you bigger, stronger, leaner, better, recover more, pro bodybuilders will get it and take it before all the research is done with it. Yeah. It's just what they always do. So if you look through time and see when bodybuilders got bigger, they got better, they got leaner, and link it to stuff, you'll be able to figure out. So when SARMs come out, bodybuilders never changed. They just done the exact same shit. They tried it, went and just moved away. Whereas since the peptides have come out now, every fucker's raving about it.
Yeah,
so you know it's going to be.
So many people is on it. It sounds great, especially when it talks about helping with like tendons and you know, maybe gut recovery and things, but because it's not fit, like technically being approved for human consumption, makes me a bit, you know, scared to try it. But I mean, when are they then gonna you know, put it through as okay to use?
I think it'll be soon with the BPC and TB. BPC, TB, GHKCU. GHKCU is already in everything anyway, just not in injectable form. I think the other ones will be fairly soon, but it depends what it's coming down to your use of it for. Because if you're going to use it for the tendons, ligaments, etc., if you haven't got your training dialed in to begin with to benefit them areas, then you're just using it as a plaster on top of a cut. Sorry, on top of like a broken bone.
Yeah.
Like it's never going to fix it, because like with your tendons and stuff like that, you've got to figure out why they get inflamed or why you have issues. Like I'm at a point now with me rehab work that I do. I don't believe tendonitis. I've started to shy away from believing that's even a fucking real thing. So it's going to be an element of it when it is ridiculously bad. But as a whole, like most people that get told they have tendonitis from the doctor, if it can be relieved very quickly, which so many things can, like within a couple of hours, it can't be tendonitis, because tendonitis is an inflamed tendon, so the inflammation must still exist. So realistically, if it was that, you should still have pain after relieving it. And that's where I kind of sit on my boundaries with it a little bit on that, because like the best way to describe a tendon and a muscle, if you think of them, so what a tendon does, a tendon just attaches a muscle to a bone. So if you think about it, if you think of your muscle like an elastic band, and then you think of your tendon like a spring, once you pull your elastic band too much, it then pulls the spring. So let's say the elastic band has loads of knots in it. Every time you pull that, it's going to pull the spring more. So because it's now pulling the spring more and it's going beyond how much it can move, that's when you end up getting tendonitis. So if you just alleviate...
Tennis, elbow and all that shit.
Yeah, so if you just alleviate the muscular problems, correct the imbalances, because almost every muscular problem is just a movement restriction or muscular imbalance, like the antagonistic side is weak. If you correct that, then generally speaking, you correct most of the tendon issues too.
And then regarding fat loss, what is the number one thing most people get wrong when trying to lose fat?
It comes down to an element of calories, but I think the biggest one that I found with myself and all my clients is sleep and recovery. Because like, I've trained hundreds of people now, it's not up to the thousands, and if anyone says they've trained thousands of people, unless you're an online coach and you haven't actually trained them in person, you're a liar. So if you're up into like that figure, then you start seeing patterns. One of the ones I've found is the people who live an extremely stressed life, you know, who just cranks all the time and they always have poor sleep, they'll generally have 3 or 4 hours sleep, they will always struggle to lose fat. And you'll find they'll have to go like sub 1,000 calories to drop any weight, because they done a study on sleep and they compared 8.5 hours to 5.5 hours sleep over a 2-week deficit. It was 3 control groups, or maybe 2. So the one with 8.5 hours sleep on the deficit over the 2 weeks dropped 1.4 kilogram. The one with the 5.5 hours sleep dropped 0.6. So by 3 hours less sleep, you drop less than half. And that was just having 3 hours less sleep.
Wow.
So if you up your sleep and you get your recovery right, that'll be the numero uno. It doesn't matter what calories you're on, and then sort out your calories and your macros, because even going further than the calories, you've got your carbs, proteins and fats, as you know. Alcohol is classed as one as well, but not the biggest fan of that, and it's not the best fucking macro to have for your body. So if you think of it in that sense, you then got to break it down. So if you're on a calorie deficit, excess protein will get converted into glycogen, which is what carbohydrates break down into. So excess protein doesn't get pissed out, it just converts over into a carb, which is interesting. So that's why when you diet and you cut down, you generally want to have a higher protein amount, because any excess that, apart from what you need, which you will need more, will just fill up your glycogen stores. But if you have a lot of carbs and fats at the same time, apart from the fat that you need for your bodily functions, any excess fat just gets stored as fat. But any excess carb gets stored as glycogen until the glycogen storage is full, and then it gets stored as fat.
And if people want to lose fat, I'm sure you've heard of it, they've been told to completely cut out carbs. And then you can do the keto thing and all that, but surely, do you enjoy eating carbs for the energy, or?
Not for the energy, but just because I like carbs, yes.
Yeah.
I'm not the biggest fan of keto, but I understand why it works. Like, people don't do keto because it's the best way to lose fat. They do it because it simplifies what they can eat. Because if you get rid of all the carbs, your bread, your rice, your pasta, everything, you're limited to just proteins and fats. You know, if you have a shit ton of bacon and fucking 6 eggs, you're going to be full for hours.
Yeah.
And you're not going to want to eat, because all the shit that you'll want to eat, like your carbs, you haven't got it. So it makes people's like decision and process a lot easier by doing that. So I think that is the main one, because I used to have a friend in NZ, multi-millionaire, Joseph Rakic. On his training programs, he was like one of the first online coaches. On his training programs, he always pushed keto simply for that fact. So it was like, if you simplify what you can eat, it makes it a lot easier. People have too many options. I think that's one of the issues with life nowadays, because like, you can go anywhere, you can do anything and all that. Like, how are you meant to choose what to do?
Yeah.
Whereas if you simplify it and you just go back, let's say you only have 10 things to eat, it's a fucking piece of piss. You can't really fuck that up.
Have social media coaches made the industry better or worse?
Worse. Fucking 1,000,000% worse.
In what way?
The standard of the knowledge and info, because you get so many online coaches now who have never actually trained anyone in real life. So like, how can they tell or help someone with the form or balance them out when they haven't done it themselves, because they've never helped anyone? It just does not make any, it baffles me, if I'm going to be completely honest, because like, going back and rewinding what we said before regarding movement, like, if you can't just do basic movements, like even just lift your arm above your head, which a lot of people can't do it, a coach is then going to tell you to do a shoulder press or something like that, but instead of pressing the weight up like that, you're now going to be pressing it like that. But that coach isn't going to know what he's looking at or how to correct it because he's never had to do it in person. So the client's form's then going to get shit. The client's probably going to end up getting an injury, and that the coach is then going to try and fix it, not going to be able to do it. And then the client's going to end up coming to someone like me to then correct them, to then go back on the track to work with him. And it's fucking stupid. I don't understand it. I think social media, like, but on the same time, I think the whole online coach sphere is dying. I think it's slowly dying now because of people are realising it's just, unless you know what you're doing in a gym, it's just not the fucking best. Like, you can do it to a degree, like with the very, very basics and teach people, but then you need your process to do that, but you're not going to get your process to do that, to teach people from scratch without doing it in the first place. When I teach people how to squat, let's say I've got someone who's like 60, they've never squatted in their life, they don't know what to do. What I'll do, I'll just set up a medicine ball at quite a high height. I'll stack it on some plates. So it's just the height of a chair, and I'll just teach them how to squat down. So it's a high box squat in exercise terminology. Teach them how to go down, sit on it, and just stand back up, and that is it. And then from there, we will then go to a goblet squat. Once you do a goblet, because it keeps the torso a little bit more vertical, it'll make it a bit easier for them.
Yeah.
We then use that, go to the same height, gradually lower the depth of the squat so they get deeper and deeper. Within about 2 sessions, 3 sessions, they're now doing a full depth squat. Once you do that, you see if there's any issues, correct them, activation, release. And then once you get to that point, you can then progress. Once they get up to 24 kilogram goblet squat, I then put them under the bar because they know they can do it at that point, and the technique's there. And then once you get under the bar, you can then progress forward as far as you like. But an online coach who hasn't worked with anyone in person would not have a fucking clue how to do it. It'd be like, right, barbell squat. And then you go in, you see people fucking going like that, and you're just like,
Yeah.
what the fuck is that?
So important to get a right coach. And also, I mean, it must be hard for people to, think, who do we trust? Because the internet's full of them. And, how do they know how to tell?
And that's the issue we've got at the
Yeah.
moment, and that's what's kind of burnt my head out. One of the coaches I look up to is a fella called Justin Harris, and he's in his 40s now. I think he's in his 40s, might be around close to 50 to be fair. But he was from the forum time, and he said, like back then, so he'd done a degree in sports nutrition, and he said on the forums it was just who shouted louder. Oh, that's not very nice. And it was just who shouted louder. And he just got sick of it in the end and ended up going into engineering. Like, he's come back to the field, but I feel like that's kind of what it is, on Instagram and the socials at the moment. It's not who's right, it's just who can get their shit across loudest and the most efficient way. So if someone's like going like, you need to do this, you have to do that, you shouldn't do that. Most people, like, they've never learned to think for themselves, so they're just going to go, okay, I'll do that. And then you've got to then try and backtrack and then correct all the shit that's been spouted by people who don't know anything.
And what's the biggest transformation you've seen? Not physically, but mentally.
Yeah, I've worked with quite a few people who have been in dark places. Like, I'll see if one pops into my head, a specific mental, because I do get I help quite a lot of people, because with my coaching, I've found that I do a lot of help for people mentally as well, because like when you're with people, it's the same as yourself. If you're with someone for hours and you're doing it multiple times, you do get to know them very well.
Yeah.
And then if you've got a bit of life experience, you always have a tendency to want to help people, don't you? I'll probably say one of my best ones physically that's led to mentally, and is a woman called Annie. So Annie come to me when she was 60. She had a full hip replacement 3 months earlier. She couldn't walk, like she couldn't bend the hip, she couldn't put her shoes on or anything, couldn't even sit down on a chair properly. After 3 months of that, she was doing weighted walking lunges and a full squat. And then after that, now she then done a PT qualification, and she's now competed as a professional not a pro bodybuilder, but an amateur bodybuilder.
Wow.
And in her 60s. And that's literally after having a full hip transplant. She couldn't walk when she met me.
That's insane.
Yeah, it's fucking cool.
Wow.
So she worked with me for, I think it was about 4 months, and then went off her own way. So she works with bodybuilding coaches now. But yeah, she's like completely flipped her life. And like seeing people and working with people, like I had some lad the other day who's had shoulder pain for quite a few months. He come up from London to come see me because he was meeting his bird in Birmingham, shot up here, alleviated his shoulder pain. He's now feels great. It was another girl that I'm currently training still at the moment. She come to me last year with sciatic pain, was in pain for 3 years, couldn't drive and get out the car without being in pain, and now she's pain free and got her first powerlifting comp next week.
Wow.
So yeah, like the benefits that come, like the mental benefit side of it, when you get your body feeling great, it's brilliant. Because even if you think about it, in essence, look at people who are depressed and stressed. They always walk around crunched over, rounded over, very flexed spine. You can tell if someone's down just by the way they hold themselves. So if you correct the body so they're not stuck in that position anymore, it changes people's confidence. They walk around with their head held high. They have more belief in themselves, and then it pushes forward to other things. Because like with your mental health, you've got to look at it on a deeper level. Like, you could be mentally the most sound person in the world, but if your body's out of whack, you're waking up in pain all the day, you're limited on your movements, your abilities, that's going to cross over to you just being down on the daily anyway, because of the stresses and the pain that the poor body movement is giving you.
And if someone only has 3 hours a week to train, what would you tell them to focus on?
I will ask you a question in return.
Yeah.
How many days do you think I train a week?
4 to 5. 2.
2 days at the moment, yeah, that's it.
2 days a week.
2 days a week.
So you don't do a split?
I do upper and lower. That is
Upper,
it.
lower.
So optimal.
And how long's your workout?
Bar an hour and a half, hour and 15. So when I used to train, I used to train 4 or 5 days a week all the time. Dropped it down. I think 3 is the optimal for me at the moment, but for time I'm just doing 2. I'm growing like fuck as well comparatively. What I've found is if you keep on top of your mobility, so keep mobile, keep stretching, get everything balanced, when you go to the gym, you don't need to do as much because you're not trying to correct shit that is throwing you out of whack. So you can just do the stuff that you need to do to hit it. And I think that's when machines are a bonus. And then you can literally go in and just leave. Like, yeah, that's all I do now. Like, I stretch out probably around an extra day for around between 15 minutes, half an hour, another day or 2, depending on if something feels tight. And that's all I do now.
Dorian Yates
says twice a week as well, yeah. And then
yes, and Mike Menser as well.
So Dorian Yates used to do 4 days when he trained, but with his belief now, he's kind of in the same frame as me. He does more just general activity like bike rides, stuff like that, lifts twice a week, and then that's it. And he's got his little, what's his name, hasn't he? His little retreat, his cannabis, Marbella.
Oh, right.
Yeah, he's got his own cannabis retreat down there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
A lot of the celebs kind of go that way. Mike Tyson as well has got his cannabis thing going on.
I think it's, if you go that far in a sport or something, you need to have something a little bit mentally off. Like what I've noticed, because I've read a lot of very successful like entrepreneurs, sporting people, everything else, books, like their autobiographies. Almost every single one of them I've found is neurodivergent. Like they've always got a reason and a purpose to become as good as they are or want to be at something. And like for men, it always seems to be like a father thing. They always want to make the dad feel proud, or they always want to, like do it for the parents and shit like that.
Yeah.
But it's an interesting one because there is a difference between the sexes there, because I find men are like that and they need to find their purpose. It's either through business, through a sport, through a family, or it's going to end up as drugs and alcohol. Women, on the other hand, I find women that don't have purpose or don't have kids, because like the general age of kids used to be like in the early 20s, like late teens, wasn't it? It was more like mid-late teens back in the day. Like we're going back like, medieval times and that.
Yeah.
And like if you look at the women who get into the 20s who generally don't have kids, they've always got a pet. They always seem to have fucking cats or a dog. Every one of them. Like my bird's a prime example. Like she got given 2 cats, I think for her 21st.
Now, what's the weirdest thing that's happened, since social media fame?
It's not going to sound that weird, but it's weird for someone. Because like in school now, like because I'm autistic and ADHD'd up and that, I'm a loner. I used to just, do my own thing all the time, and I was in every friend circle, but I was never a friend. I was always a mate with everyone. I always kind of, just done my own thing. People seeing me on the street and going like, StrengthGod, and waving at me. That is fucking bizarre, that. Like I had it in New Zealand once. when I was over there, like, and I got just someone randomly fucking shouting and saying hello to me as StrengthGod, and I was like, this is fucking bizarre, this. Yeah, that, and like, just the network, and like, it's a weird one. I don't know, I don't really have that many, you know. I wouldn't class myself as social media famous yet, though. Give me another 90k followers, maybe. You'll see me on Misfits now.
Yeah. Would you go on with Misfits?
I don't know, because I spoke to one of my mates. He's a pro boxer. He's very good as well. I think it's the WBO in September, and I was speaking to him about it. But then after watching the fights, and you know, just the way they are as people, some of the fighters, you know, the ones who do well, they're just dramatic bitches. Let's be real.
Yeah.
I couldn't fucking do that. I think I'm a right ponce if I done that. I couldn't make like a show and, you know, a fuss over nothing.
Yeah, it's a bit like the tattoo shows. People ask me, would you go on Ink Masters and that? But I can't really, everything's scripted, and they love to cause drama and arguments. And I don't really want to get involved with online arguing or someone speaking to you, you know, in a bad way, and you got to play along. It's not my thing.
It's weird, isn't it? I don't understand
but
it.
people buy into that shit. They love the drama on TV.
It's weird.
EastEnders or whatever.
Yeah, I don't understand that either.
Have you ever posted something you instantly regretted? Maybe a workout video, or maybe you stood on the scale and your bollocks showed and you didn't know?
I've done a few actually, yeah. I remember this was a number of years ago. I was seeing a girl, and I sent her a picture of myself and that, because I looked really good at the time. And then it was about a week later or something like that, like we parted ways and all. I was pissed off about it, so I just put the fucking picture on my Instagram with a lipstick over my dick. I'm thinking back now, I'm like, that's proper needy, that. I do regret that now, but I'm glad it was on my story. It's funny though now.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I thought, fuck you, everyone can fucking see it.
Is building a business harder than building muscle?
1,000,000%. It doesn't. I don't think it even compares. Like, to put muscle on it, it's actually really, really fucking easy. It's not difficult in the slightest. It's just consistency and patience. Like, anyone in the world can actually get into a really good shape, like, fairly easily if you get everything dialed in. It doesn't even have to be perfect.
And if they don't use any substance or steroids or anything?
Yeah, still easy. Like, it's not difficult at all, like, to do. Because, like, you've got to look at it the fundamental basis. Like, to put muscle on, all muscle is protein converted from protein into muscle. It's synthesized through. So you need to give your body a stimulus for it to have to do that. So you give your body a stimulus through training and keeping form right, making it perfect. If you get your form right and then continue to get stronger, you don't even have to, like, you know, continuously push yourself. As long as you go slightly close to failure. On the higher rep ranges, the more closer to failure you've got to be. The lower rep ranges, the more distance you can have from failure. That is it. Do that, eat enough, rest. That's it. It is so fucking simple. And that's one of the things on the socials that kind of, like, baffles me a bit at the moment, because you see all this stuff like, oh, the science says you need this, the science says you need that. Like, look at the people and the bodybuilders from, like, the 70s, 80s compared to now.
Yeah.
Like, the shapes are so much more pretty. They done it with limited equipment, limited stuff, limited food, limited steroids, and they still got to that shape. So if the people now need to take everything and do everything to do it, maybe you're just not, like, able or capable to get to that point.
Do you think genetics play a big role?
Fucking massively. I actually had a South African friend when I was in New Zealand. His name was Luke. Netherlands ancestry, so tall, white, blonde hair, blue eyes. He was a monster of a lad. He was like 6'1", 6'2", and when he was like 19, he looks better than most people, like, right now. He looked incredible, and that was just his genetics.
Some people struggle with legs, and I mean, a lot of people would argue that they train so hard and they go to failure and they still look the same to them. Like, a year later in the gym or 2 years later, it feels like they still look the same like the day they walked in 2 years ago.
You've got to look at what they're not doing, because it'll either be diet, sleep, or they're just not pushing it enough training wise. Because it's not even really going super hard. Like, you don't have to, push until you die when you train.
Yeah.
And you don't even need that much stuff. So, example, last night I went in. If you look at my Dorian Yates' old training split, like people say, he done limited, amount of sets of stuff like that. But if I recall off the top of my head, maybe wrong, probably won't be. On his back day or his pull day, whatever it was, he used to do, I think it was 7 exercises with between 1 and 2 working sets per movement. So he's still done his warm-up sets, so that's still quite a lot of volume.
Yeah.
If you think about it, if you just go into a gym, it used to be a training style called DC's training, so dog crap training. It was by a fella called Dante Trudel. You done an upper and lower split, and you do 3 days a week, so it'll be upper, lower, upper 1 week, and then lower, upper, lower the next week. So every time you go in, you pick 5 movements. For your upper day, it'll be a pull down based one, a row based one, and then it'll be a pec based one, shoulder based one, and then a tricep based one. I think you do your bi on your lower day. So you go in, pick 5 movements, go close to failure on about 2 working sets on each. You use something called a rest pause set, and then do a nice stretch, a weighted stretch to make it everything nice and loose, and that's it. Like, you continuously push the weight up when you can, and that is all you need to do along with eating, and you will grow. Like, you cannot not. So, do you know what the story of progressive overload is?
Well, apart from just try to weekly, get more reps or higher weights in.
Where it come from originally.
Right.
So, story time, you'll like this.
Okay, let's go.
There was a fella called Milo of Croton. So it's an ancient, it's a Greek mythology, an ancient Greek one.
Okay.
So Milo from Croton used to be into his wrestling.
Yeah.
So what he done, he wanted to get bigger and stronger. So every time he walked into the city, he used to carry a cow on his back. So it started off as a calf, and the bigger the cow got, the more weight he had to lift. And that is the story of progressive overload, because as the cow got bigger, he then got stronger. And that's how progressive overload formulated back in ancient Greek mythology.
Is that real?
You heard that? Well, I don't know if it actually happened or, because like carrying a 400k cow on your back's a bit fucking. We'll see if that happens. But that is the story of progressive overload, yeah.
It's pretty cool.
It's
Now,
sick of it.
what's the biggest mistake people make when they try to grow online?
Not be themselves.
Yeah, good point.
If you're not yourself, then why are people going to believe you? Because like, if you're faking a personality or putting on a different face, when people see you in person, they're going to know it's not you. And like, everyone can always see through people. Like, it's easy to see, who's faking it and that. And realistically, like, if you're yourself, you're going to attract people like you. Like, I had an online coach actually sign up for me the other day for online coaching, ironically, for the rehab side of it. And he said, just off that first video, he was already sold by the time he got to my profile, just because of the way I am.
Yeah.
Like, I don't try and sugarcoat shit. I don't try and not swear. I don't put a face on it. I am what I am, like. So, in that essence, as long as you can put your personality across. So, don't get me wrong, if you're a dickhead and you're a cunt, you're not going to get anywhere because you're a dickhead.
Yeah.
You'll get people who watch you, but you won't build a business because people will watch you because you're entertaining, not because you're a good person or not because they're learning anything. So if you've got some type of value or some type of life lessons, experience, stuff like that, that you can then help people with, if you get that across in your own personality, in your own format, then people are going to watch. Just don't be a dickhead.
Good point. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
What I'd like to be is in either Canada or northern Spain with a cannabis retreat. That's my goal. So, a bit like what Dorian's done. Like, I went to Bilbao for Spanibus, the cannabis festival, earlier on this year, and I landed in Bilbao and I just looked around and it was so fucking beautiful. It was unreal. Like, it's a city just literally with mountains all around it. I've always loved northern Italy. Like, I spoke to my bird about when we settled down, it was either going to be in Tuscany to bring a family up and that, because I don't want to, if we do end up having a family, but I don't want one in this country. I don't think it's safe. I don't like the way the country is run. I don't like the way the system is, the way the people are, the attitudes. It needs a lot to change, this place, because it does need to change, because the country's going to implode at this rate. Like, we're effectively living in the USA of Europe.
And was there a time where you were actually proud of the UK and happy to live here, or have you always wanted to leave?
Always. Well, funny one actually. before I ever had my first holiday abroad, because I think I went abroad for the first time when I was 21, I never seen the point of not leaving the country. But then as soon as I left and then I went to Oz and that, and I seen what the standard of living is like in other places, because I spent a year in Oz, a year and a half London, 2 years New Zealand, and then Dubai a couple of years ago as well. Didn't last long there though. When I seen the standard of living outside of this country, I was like, why is anyone happy to stay there? Like, there's so limited benefits of being here, it's beyond me. But I think it's just everyone always thinks of the worst, like, oh my God, I've got to do this, got to do that, got to do this, I need to do that. But to pack up your bags up and move, like, that's kind of what we are as people. We're nomadic tribes in essence. We're not meant to stay in a singular place. And I think cities is part of the reason for that as well, because I was thinking about this the other day, like, when we wake up, all we do is see street lamps outside, we hear loads of noise, we see cars going past, there's people walking past, we've got about 10 million things to do every single day. Like, as a species, we're not meant to cope and deal with that. And then if you look at the statistics of mental health conditions and all that as well, how ironic is it that every single one of them is rising? So I think it does come down to an element of awareness, but we're in cities which are just a constant influx and overwhelm every single day that we're alive. Because I'm going to take a guess and say you're probably similar to me. As soon as you go into nature, into a forest or something, you're relaxed and chilled out for fucking about 10 minutes.
Oh yeah, I can't be in the city. It's fucking not for me, that.
So
not even in my own country, you know, I don't like any city.
They're horrible.
Go to Barcelona, people say, oh mate, you're going to get there, you're going to fucking fall in love. Don't get me wrong, I've been places in Spain where these coastal towns, but then again, I can't be in a retirement village. But then I went to Barcelona and I thought, it's just another city, fucking day. 2 days walking around there, then day 3, I'm like, I just want to go.
That's what me and Mel are like. Like, we literally is about 2 days in every city and then we're gone. Because it's just, but like, around Bilbao, you've got the Basque Country. And the Basque Country, it's just, have you ever been to Northern Italy?
I've been there to Tuscany and Cinque Terre with the 5 towns. Yeah, with the train, beautiful
mountains,
up there.
It's just rolling hills, isn't it? And that's what Basque like. Basque is a bit more like around Lugano and Como, so it's just mountains everywhere.
Beautiful.
It is so pretty, but
beautiful,
I remember reading a study the other day on it actually, and I think it's a specific type of, I think it's like a phytokill or phytochemical, that when you inhale it, you know, when you're around the trees and all, it actually regulates and calms down your nervous system, the vagus nerve. Which is ironic, like, and that's the reason we can't, because I do think it's cities which are killing us, because there's not even much of a community anymore. Like, everyone has the communities built around their interests, which is either going to be training, alcohol, fucking anything, like jiu-jitsu, but outside of that, no one just chills, like, especially in this country. I think in Italy, if they're saying, like, correct me if I'm wrong here, because I probably am going to be wrong, I think it's called La Dolce Niente, which is the love of doing nothing. Because they'll just walk around, they'll just sit there and just chill with a coffee, or they'll look and just look at the construction work going on and just wander around, and people have lost the ability to do nothing and just chill.
Yeah, I'm guilty myself of always on the go and having to do stuff, you know?
Yeah. Do you do that as a distraction away from yourself though, or is it because it's something in your head that's just making you be like, oh my God, I need to do this, need to do that?
Yeah, I feel almost as if
you can't relax.
Yeah, like I have to do things, otherwise I'm falling behind, you know, in life. Like I have to achieve things. Like this month, I'm tattooing nearly every day. I've got 1 day off, the 30th, next week, Thursday. And I thought, why the fuck am I doing this to myself? Like, I'm not complaining because, you know, you're busy with work and all that. And, you know, I'm thankful to be busy. But at the same time, I have a lot of things going on. I do rap, I do the tattoos, I do the podcast. Then I want to paint as well. There's not enough hours in a day. And jiu-jitsu, usually get up 5:30, 6:30 I'm jiu-jitsu, then at the gym for 8 till 9. Then I'm here, tattoo at 10, and then that's how it goes. Always busy.
Are you happy?
Well, I'm pretty happy, I'd say. I'd consider myself a happy guy. I told my missus, I said, I'm not really seeing any of the summer. You know, we don't get much summer, and I'm just indoors all day working. I I thought, you know, I should have spaced things out a bit more
Yeah.
to take some time and just, yeah, do nothing a little bit, not feel guilty. That's the thing.
One of the ones in the realizations that I've had though, so as long as you're doing the tiniest step every day, so the Japanese have got a saying called Kaizen. So
Yeah.
it's becoming 1% better every day. You would have seen the quote. So with that 1%, it doesn't mean you have to complete the biggest task possible as long as you are just doing a small bit. But you've got to remember, and this is I think where a lot of people fall through on, they think they need to make every day as busy as they can because of socials and that, and it always derived into you. But it does come down to a childhood thing of that as well. But if you're okay because you're happy, if you're enjoying your life, it's okay. But if you're not enjoying your life and you're keeping yourself busy every day, then you're just literally not living your life now with the hopes that you are going to live it later on.
Yeah. All right.
And it's a very fine line between spending your time to live now or spending your time to live in the future, because that's the problem with retirement age and pension, because everyone works their arse off 40-hour weeks their entire life. They have 2 weeks holiday a fucking year,
Yeah.
just for the hope, and when they turn 65, 67, they then retire to then live the life. Whereas in essence, why not live the whole life?
Yeah, that's why I'm a big advocate to encourage people to try to do something that they love, and, you know, try and work for yourself if you can, because you don't want to be someone else's slave to just, you know, to work, make them rich or whatever. Not just that. I mean, it's nothing worse sitting in traffic going to a job you hate.
Yeah.
So for me, doing this, it's like, it's still my time and everything like that, you know, but I enjoy it. I can genuinely say I love what I do. Makes things so much better.
And that's the main
Easier,
thing,
you
because
know?
if you're that busy every day, but you're enjoying and you're waking up every day being like, you know what, this is fucking sick, then it's nothing to worry about, is it?
Yeah,
Because you are still living your life just the way you want to live it. Because it's as soon as you standardise it, because I do think comparison is needed, you know, in lives. Because everyone always says comparison's a thief of joy and all that, and I think it's a crock of shit. Because how do you know that your life is good or bad if you don't compare it? If you don't compare, you have no standard to base it against.
So you've spoken openly about mental health. So what made you decide to be so openly about it online?
To try and help other people, because I realised pretty quickly that a lot of people struggle, a lot of other people, like I get a lot of people reaching out to me. I'd probably say that's probably the highlight of my social media, to be fair. Like, I've had so many people reach out to me who struggle themselves. I've been for loads of coffees, loads of walks, kind of what you were saying there, you know, with like your own time, and you're like, I enjoy it. Like, I do like helping people, because if someone's got the capacity to come to me and ask me questions, that means they've got the initiative to want to sort the shit out themselves.
Yeah.
And if they've got the initiative, I'm more than happy to help. Like, you can't change people and force them to change, but if someone comes to you, you can help them change themselves. And like, growing up where I grew up with the family I did and everything else, like, you see everything for what it truly is, probably similar to yourself. And you realise that the majority of people out there are generally unhappy and in poor positions, but it's not because they want to be, it's because they don't know there is any other way out or an answer. Like, most of the knowledge and everything in life is just people's perspectives that you change. Like, you'd have an argument with your bird. I read a really good quote on this the other day. It doesn't matter if you're right or wrong, you both got your own realities and own universes, and you both believe that what you believe, like, are arguing for is the truth. So it doesn't matter if one's right or wrong, you're still destroying the other person's reality. So if you can understand everything on a perspective level, and then elevate up your perspective to see it with a broader light, that generally fixes most things. People just get too emotionally attached to what they need to do.
And do you think physical strength can build mental resilience?
Massively, yeah, and that's one of the most... It's interesting you said that, actually. It's one of the most interesting things I find about coaching, because the first time, because I mainly work with people who either had injuries, they've had injuries for a while, or they've literally never trained before. I get a few people who come to me who are actually quite experienced, they're the ones with the rehab, but it's mainly the people who've never stepped foot in a gym, they're like my people.
Yeah.
And when you starting to push them, you'll be like that in jits, and you're like, oh my God, I can't do any more, I can't do this. And then I was like, 3 months later, I was like, you won't be saying that. They can then push themselves further. 6 months after that, they push themselves further again. 2 years later, and you do reach a point where it's like, right, I know I can't take this anymore. I know, like, if I carry on, I am going to fail. But it's having the awareness of how far you can push yourself versus how far you think you can push yourself. And it's that difference that builds the resilience. Because then that crosses over to normal life. Because let's say you're working and you've got like a 10-hour stretch. Instead of being like, oh my God, I can't do this. You're like, 1 hour at a time, 2 hours at a time. Gradually work your way up. And it's never as bad as you think it is. Everyone just builds this like fucking sense of victimhood and defeat in their heads before they give anything a go.
And what is something that people must understand about anxiety or BPD?
The one with BPD that sets me off is people believe that it cannot be fixed and corrected. Like, it's a general consensus, like used to be anyway, it's starting to come out of it now, that you're stuck with it for life. So like one of the problems with BPD and how you can generally like figure out, so the association between BPD and complex PTSD is very similar. They are the same thing. The only difference being with the BPD is you generally get suicidal ideations or self-harm thoughts. So like, realistically speaking, like, I'll probably say for about 75-80% of my life since like me mid-teens, I've thought of killing myself almost every day. And that is part of life. That is just part of my life. Like, something goes wrong and well, it used to be anyway. My first thought was like, you know, what's the fucking point being here? Let's just end myself. Like, I've always had, and like, this is generally with BPD, you'd have a fascination of killing yourself on the different ways you're going to do it. And it's horrible to go through, but at the same time, you're not stuck with that forever. Like, that can be corrected and fixed because it's only you that's allowing yourself to think in them patterns. So if you can get rid of the patterns, it goes. And the one with anxiety is what anxiety is recognised with people like myself, because most people don't even know what anxiety is. Most people think of anxiety and they're like, oh my God, I can't do that. Like, it's a head thing. But the first thing I notice every time I'm anxious, and I reckon this will relate in with yourself as well, it's the big tight knot in your stomach. As soon as you get a big knot in your stomach, that is anxiety.
Or you think you're getting a heart attack or something?
Not even that, so just like your belly tightening up. So like, one of the ones I've clicked on with, and it's a dead weird one, whenever I eat and all that, I've got to eat, and I need to know that no one's going to come around me when I eat, because if they tap me, then it'll throw my thought process off for eating. And it sounds fucking stupid, but I can't help it. So when I'm eating with Mel, like, Mel doesn't stop moving. She'll just constantly, you know, move around, do bits and bobs. But she's got quite poor spatial awareness. So she fucking, like, she'll go in a cupboard or something, she'll just accidentally knock me. But if I'm eating and she knocks me, that then throws me off, because I'm like, oh my God, that's hit me. So my stomach will then tighten up, which then mean I can't digest my food properly until I've relaxed it down again. So I then get fucking gas from it. It's the most weirdest thing in the world. So if you can recognise that and know that that's the first step, is that knot, you can then figure out after that, okay, why have I got a knot? What's off here? And like, it's like the breakdown and the recognising of what emotion you're going through to make you feel in that way. Instead of being like, I have anxiety, you're like, okay, what am I getting anxiety from? And then be like, right, is it a confidence thing? Do I not feel comfortable? How can I make myself feel more comfortable? How can I deal with this? How can I do that? And once you start breaking it down onto like the essence and the root cause, then you can kind of fix or do anything in that sense.
And how do you pull yourself out of a bad mental day?
Interestingly enough, my friend, I got prescribed medicinal cannabis.
And it doesn't make you paranoid?
No, not one bit. I never get paranoid. I think it comes down to the strains though, so...
And how much, maybe?
Yeah, that. And whether you have a joint or a smoke.
Because a lot of the weed people smoke nowadays is it's laced with so much shit, because they spray pesticides or they spray things that make it look like crystals, and
Yeah.
you know, and people smoke this, and I've heard people say like they smoke this joint, makes their teeth burn, and you know, weird.
Yeah, it is a lot of shit, but I think for joints, what fucks people up more than what they think is tobacco. If you put tobacco in a joint, so the effect of nicotine as a whole, nicotine, and it makes you more alert. It's more of a stimulant-based one. But then weed in itself is a depressant, it's a relaxant. So if you're mixing them both together, you're like having a very strong coffee with a fucking sedative. Your body doesn't know what the fuck's going on, but what happens inside your body is they kind of cancel each other out a little bit. So if you just have the weed on its own, you'll just relax, you'll chill out. But because you're having the nicotine with it, your body's like, hang on, I want to chill here, but I'm also feeling wired. So it kind of makes you feel like you're okay. So you'll then have more, and then have more. And then one thing that there is an issue with most people when they begin is having too much in the start. Because like if you've never smoked weed and then you have a toke off a friend who's got like a 1 gram blunt, like you're gonna end up going white because you've had too much. Like
Yeah.
you wouldn't the first time you drink just drink a fucking straight glass of vodka. Like there's no difference in it. But yeah, that's what I do. So I got my medicinal prescription for my ADHD, and it doesn't half help me because like I've always had it like with BPD, like we mentioned earlier, like sometimes you wake up and it's a grey day, and then the tiniest thing will happen, and like with BPD you spiral, so you end up spiraling, and then you go to a state of victimhood. Like the best way to describe BPD, it's like living in fucking perpetual victimhood. As soon as shit goes down, it's like, why isn't this better? Why is my life like this? Why couldn't I do this? Why has everything else happened? Why have I been up like this? And then that's what ends up leading to the suicidal ideology and then the self-harm, because you just fucking spin around in circles going down. So as soon as I notice like I'm starting to fall off the wagon, which is quite rare these days to be fair, I literally just have a smoke. Like I don't even have a full one. I use a dry herb vaporizer for anyone who's curious. Specific one is a Pax. You're literally a dry herb vaporizer. You just grind your bud in, put it in it, and then it's like an air fryer, like a mini oven for your weed. So it heats it up. You've got either two different ways, conduction or convection. Conduction heats the bowl, it releases the smoke or the vapor. Convection heats the air up, the air flows through it, and then you inhale it. So you don't get any negative side effects. Your lungs feel fine. You have absolutely no issue. I don't actually believe there's any side effects apart from the chance of psychosis, which looking at it now, I think that generally comes from going white and not being able to control like an emotional dysregulation thing. So I have a couple of tokes of one of them, or a full one, and then that's me. I'm completely fine for the day.
And what's the best advice you've ever been given?
Don't give up. Easy, don't give up. And I've got a nice story for you about that.
Yeah.
Do you remember Gran Turismo on the PlayStation 1?
Yes.
Do you remember the licenses where you used to have to
Yes.
do it?
Yes.
So I remember I was little. My granddad's the only family member I like, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
And my granddad's a cool kid. He's autistic as fuck, but he's sound. And I used to struggle so much doing them. My granddad would be like, just don't give up, just keep going, just don't give up. And I always got them all. I always got them all and done it all. And that's passed through to life now. Like, knowing that as long as you're on the right path, you think you're on that path, and you know you're going in the direction you want. If you don't give up, you will get to where you want to, as long as you're moving forward. Just never give up.
Now, we're going to do like a quick fire, right?
Short answers.
That's the one. Strongman or bodybuilding?
Strongman.
Favorite exercise?
Squats.
Most overrated exercise?
Bench press.
Food you can eat every day?
Burgers.
Burgers?
I make a good burger.
Dream podcast guest?
Oh, Tony Robbins.
That's a good one.
Tony Robbins.
Biggest gym pet peeve?
Hawkers. I fucking hate them trainers.
Tattoos or muscles, which gets more attention?
Tattoos.
If Instagram disappeared tomorrow, what would you do?
YouTube. Piece of piss. Like, I think YouTube will be out. I think Instagram's going to die over the next 5-10 years. I think it's slowly going away.
And what about TikTok? Have you ever been on the TikTok craze? I'm on there, but I'm not. I'll post and ghost, if you will, you know?
Same as you. I've never been able to get it. I think apologies to anyone who's a fucking hardcore TikTok user, but I think it is for fucking lesser intelligent people, TikTok.
There's so much shit on there, yeah.
I hate it. Like, because after stuff you go on it, you just doom scroll. Well, I don't even doom scroll, my bird does. And it's just like stupid fucking, like, what are you learning or educating yourself on? It's entertainment over information.
Yeah. I've heard they show the Chinese kids like educational stuff on their TikTok, and they show us a bunch of stupid dances and that.
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it?
If somebody who watches this podcast today are stuck mentally, physically, or just in life or business, what do you want to tell them today?
Don't give up. Don't give up. And if it's a mental part and you're struggling in the area you're living in with your family, you don't know how to get out, and that one of the best things you will ever do is just moving away. Because once you get away from the stuff there, because like your life comes down to environmental factors. If you're surrounded in a shit environment, you will never escape it. If you then leave the environment, figure yourself out, and then come back, you would then know you either don't fit in or you can help the people there. But if you're staying in the shit environment, you will never change.
You know what? And that's one big thing that helped me actually getting sober. Because when I was in South Africa, I just couldn't stop drinking. Even if I come out of hospital, I'll go straight back drinking. Even though they've had me on drip overnight saying I'm in life-threatening condition, I just go back drinking. And I moved to the UK, and within about 8 months, I quit. But I was also taken out of my element with all the surroundings. And that kind of helped me, moving away a bit. I'm not blaming anybody. It's my doing, the drinking. But I think stepping away from everything helped me kind of getting my head straight.
It will, because you've got to remember, like, were you doing it as a distraction? Like, what was the reason you were doing it? Because, like, most people who are addicts and all that, like, they don't think of the reason they are.
Yeah.
So they think it's normal. So, like, everyone who's, like, whether it's drugs, alcohol, whatever it may be, it's always on a distraction basis. You're doing that to distract yourself away from your life.
Yeah.
So if you then move to a different surroundings, you're now distracting yourself with something else. So one thing I will add to you, though, because you do work all the time, you do everything you do, you don't stop at the moment. Can you be in your own head?
Yeah, I've taken a lot of time with it, and a lot of it stemmed down to not meeting my dad, not knowing my real dad. Even now, I'm 38 and I've still tried, I've paid a company, relative connections. They eventually found a cousin of mine, but tried to reach out, but we just didn't get anything back from his side. And I found out my dad passed when I was like 26, got his death certificate, things like that. But that bothered me massively, And then growing up in a bit of a violent household and things like that. So yeah, a lot of the drinking, I think, comes from that, I've made peace with things, you know what I mean? I'm in a good space. Even if I don't work, I'm good. I don't feel at risk of drinking or doing drugs or anything like that, And it's been now over 8 years sober, so I think that's me done.
That's sick,
I'm all about healthy living, looking after my health, and I want to achieve big things. It's just I find it exciting, moving the goalpost. And I don't think you ever truly found the place and go, yes, I've made it now. Here I am. I don't know. For me, at least, it's not. Many artists or people back home will look at me and think, wow, this guy's achieved so many things. Yeah. But to me, it doesn't feel like that. I don't know. I think it's fun chasing goals.
It is, but you always need to give yourself the time to realise how far you've come. And I feel like most of people who are like us, we never do.
Yeah.
Because when you stop and, like, let's say you just go down, go to a mountain, go to a beach, just look at the sea and just be like, my life now compared to what it used to be. And then you'd be like, you know what, I've actually done something here. Because you're spot on with what you said about, always moving the goalpost. That's why people, technically speaking, don't ever succeed, so to speak. Because everything they're doing, they always want it to be better. You always want it to be better, but you're always left wanting by doing that. You're never going to feel content and happy.
Yeah, and that's true. I don't really stop and think, look at what you've achieved. I don't really do that.
Well, I'll fucking help you out. So remember when you were in SA and you were still drinking, you were hospitalised?
Yeah.
Did you ever think you're going to be filming a podcast and then be in
a position? No, definitely not.
Different country, filming a podcast, doing what you love, doing what you enjoy, financially stable, brilliant position. At that point, when you're going through those moments, all you can think of is the next bevy or the next day.
Yeah.
But at the same time, how old were you then, dude?
I think that time was about 28, 29.
Yeah. One of the things I've started thinking, I wouldn't mind your opinion on it. I've started to think, going through them times, in like your early 20s when, like, you are a record, I think that's part of like just life, because like, we always look back and like, I used to anyway look back and be like, why did I do that? Why did I waste so much time? Why did I not do this sooner? But you wouldn't be the person you are now if you didn't experience that.
Yeah.
You need to go through those points to then get to where you want to be and where you are, because then that changes the figments and the perspective of your life now.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I mean, it's we are young and then we party and we do all these things, and some people seem to not snap out of it. It's a bit sad if you know, 50 still on the drugs, on the dance floor, trying to be with a 19-year-old
woman.
girls and stuff. It's not a good look.
It's one of them, but then it's their thing for not realising why they're still running. Until they realise that, like, why they're still running away from what they're doing. But then that, I think, comes down to a purpose thing in men. Because, like, if you're lacking purpose, like, for most men, it's generally the societal thing. Have kids, get a house, get a mortgage, work along, go until you retire, you look after your kids are your purpose, give them a good life, move on. But then the ones who don't have kids, like me and my birds were talking about this the other day, like, the people who have kids young, like, they haven't learned how to live their own lives themselves. So how can they pass on the information to then teach other people, the kids, on how to live their life when they don't know how to live it anyway?
Yeah, that's true.
And I think that's one of the reasons why this country is ending up a bit fucked now, because, like, I think the fertility rates are starting to decline now, but through when I was young and like so I was born 92, I'll probably say till about 2000, mid 2000s, all them are having kids, generally speaking. They're breaking up because the whole traditional relationship's gone downhill, so they're breaking up from the partners, moving forward, having kids, generally ended up fucking single mother, like ours were. And then you grow up and you just end up, the kids become cunts because they can't control them, because they never learn to control themselves.
And is there anything else you want to mention that you feel we didn't mention on today's podcast?
No, nothing specific. I'll probably say the biggest thing that confuses me about this country, and this'll open the floodgates for conversations, this is why cannabis is still illegal yet alcohol isn't. Because if you look back to when, one of the reasons weed's illegal now, along with LSD and mushrooms, so the government and all the different health organisations are pushing hundreds of millions into the research around cannabis, magic mushrooms, LSD, ketamine, all of that, you know, for mental health and stuff like that. So weeds has been used since I think it was the ancient Chinese times. Like, they actually used to get buried with pots of weed in the tombs to take for the afterlife. But the problem is now it's such a stigma around it that they think it's going to end up like causing psychosis, fucking everyone up. But that was started by the FDA in America, because if you look at the timeline from when acid and weed and all that were banned, that was from when America was going to war with the Vietnamese. And if anyone watching this, if you smoked or ever done acid, you know for a fact when you do that, you don't want to fight, you don't want to do anything, you just want to be happy and get the munchies and just chill the fuck out. So because they were conscripting the American forces then, I think the American forces wouldn't have actually wanted to go to war if they didn't ban it. So they banned it to help people actually end up going in, and then structured it that way. Because, like, the amount of benefits this has, like, it's fucking incredible. It's changed my life. And it's the stigma, and then you've got to look at it on the streets in this country, to be specific. Like, the Albos, the drug dealers, everyone else, all the big names, a lot of crime, it's a lot of fucking shootings, a lot of stabbings, a lot of fucking money that's just going around hands instead of into the government for something which they could literally bring billions to the country, regulate it, and bring it up to a decent standard and increase the amount of jobs available. And it makes no sense. I just don't understand it.
And tell us about that little growing lamp that you designed.
So, what I have done, I have a medicinal prescription, as I mentioned earlier. So I've designed something that you can grow tomatoes and you can grow strawberries out of, but it goes inside your living room. It's called the Bell Jar Grow Co. And effectively, it is a home decor based grow system, because everyone associates everything with growing. They always think of tents, LEDs, and it's ugly. And I don't understand why no one's made stuff that you can just stick in your living room, you can have it in the corner, it looks beautiful. Like, it just makes so much sense. So I've designed a complete indoor growing system, which all you have to do is water it for all your medicinal tomatoes and strawberries. And it's beautiful. And fingers crossed, it's going to cause the gentrification of indoor growing, which is the ideal aim for it, to get it across to more people, to help more people. Because I think realistically, due to the fact that it's been, what's the word, declassified down into a medicinal substance, cannabis as a whole, I don't understand why medicinal patients still have to buy the stuff when they can't just grow it themselves. So I'm not expressing that I grow anything here, I'm all on about the tomatoes and all that, but it makes no sense. So I have developed the Bell Jar Grow Co. Check it out on Instagram at the Bell Jar Grow Co. And my own account at StrengthGod.
Yeah, we'll put the link in the description as well. And tell us about this tattoo that I'm doing for you today.
So the tattoo Dean has currently done is the snake eating itself. So all of you would have seen this already. The term for it is called the Ouroboros. The Ouroboros effectively means life returning to itself. So as we go through life, it always comes around. So the snake's eating itself. One of my actual ways, I've always said this when I want to die, you'll love this. I've always wanted to be buried under a tree so I return back to the planet.
Yeah, that's good.
And it's pretty much the same as this tattoo, and it's actually the same as my indoor grow system as well. So everything in that, you can literally do it all, send it back, give it to your worms, whatever you want to do, and then it's just an organic circulating system, and that's the way life should be. Like, live, what is it? It's a powerlifting company. I'm a big fan of, called Elite FTS, and they've got a saying, it's live, learn, pass on.
That's awesome, brother. Man, it was such a pleasure to have you on the Dean Taylor podcast here today. We will continue with this tattoo. And yeah, I would just wish you all the best. Continue changing lives for the good and helping people out there. And also people, if you need help, you know, mentally, physically, whatever, you can reach out to him, StrengthGod on Instagram. The link will be in the description as well.
So yeah, if you're struggling at the moment and you're suffering with any pains, niggles, injuries, or you've been lacking your movement for a long time and you want to sort it out, or maybe you're just getting into your 40s, 50s and you're thinking about your long-term approach to how your body moves, you still want to pick up the grandkids, you still want to move around, you still want to be active and functional, drop me a message, because pretty much anything you can think of I can help you out with, and I can increase the standard of your living exponentially to get you feeling better, moving and being more active the older you get. So drop me a follow at StrengthGod, send me a message, I'm more than happy to help.
That's it. Health is wealth.
Health is fucking wealth.
Nice one, brother. Thank you. And if you've enjoyed the show, you know where to find me. Thank you very much.
Brother.
Cheers, brother.